Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all the parents, teachers, and students who have joined us today for the webinar on the undergraduate program and careers. I'm Rangoli Indra from the Office of Outreach, and I will be your host today. Joining me are Ishwar Venkatesham, Pro Vice Chancellor, Ashoka University, Priyanka Chando, Assistant Vice President, Career Development Office, Ashoka University, and Jinal Shah, Assistant Director, Office of Outreach, Ashoka University. Together, we will try to address some of the basic highlights about the undergraduate program at Ashoka University. Please post any questions you may have in the Q&A box. We'll certainly take them up towards the end. So without any delay, let's get started. I would like to first invite Venkat to please address our audience and share his thoughts on what makes Ashoka University truly unique. Over to you, Venkat.
Thank you, Rangoli. Hello, everyone. Delighted to see you all on a Saturday morning. And the topic is what makes Ashoka unique. And I think I'll just give you a broad understanding of where our journey started. I mean, if you look at the top 200 universities in the world, China on a population of 1.4 billion has 9 of them. The US on a population of 340 million has 64. India on a population of 1.3 billion has 1, which is the Indian Institute of Sciences in Bangalore. It's a matter of bother for all of us that for a civilization which is as old as India and has been an exporter of knowledge for centuries, has 1 in the top 200 versus China having 9, right? That was the genesis of Ashoka being born. Our quest and our mission is to build a world-class university out of India, right? The second aspect that distinguishes Ashoka from any other institution in India, it's truly multidisciplinary. If you look at all of Indian higher education, right, students study up to class 10, then they pick disciplines in 11th and 12th. They could pick the humanities or the sciences or commerce or other disciplines. And that then becomes the only course of academic pursuit for the rest of their lives, right? You pick sciences in 11th and 12th, you study engineering or you become a doctor, and that's it for life. The question is, how does someone at the age of 16 know that that is going to be their instrument of liking or academic pursuit or professional pursuit for the next 40 or 50 years? It's very difficult, right? What Ashoka has done is this, that we are saying that when students get into a university, they should have an option and an opportunity to explore a range of academic disciplines taught by some of the finest teachers in the world, right? And so a student may say, hey, listen, I love economics, but I'm going to go to Ashoka and explore what other academic options are there on the menu, right? So they may fall in love with history. They may fall in love with philosophy. They may fall in love with English, right? Or they may fall in love with biology. But the fact is that the institution and the academic system must allow for that to happen. That is what makes Ashoka very unique, that students have an opportunity to explore a range of academic disciplines before they choose to pursue their majors. Now, there's another big intervention that we brought to the table, which is the foundation courses. We have mandatory 9 foundation courses which are taught to students at Ashoka. That is compulsory, irrespective of which discipline the student chooses. So you may want to be a physicist, you may want to be a historian, or you want to be a creative writer, but everyone has to get exposed to those 9 courses. On top of that, we have critical thinking seminars and critical thinking courses that allow for the human mind to understand how the world works from an academic standpoint. I think from a pedagogic view or from a curriculum standpoint, these are very, very big interventions, right? And then our teachers. they are some of the finest teachers you'll find anywhere in the world. Our faculty, about 60% of them have PhDs from Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, Columbia, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge. And I wish to point out that in no other college in India is the minimum qualification a PhD to come and teach at the university, right? So when we say that we want to be world-class, the fact is our faculty come from a world-class background and are able to bring that quality of education to our students, right? So that's that from an academic standpoint, that's what makes it unique. But if you look at where our students come from, I think part of the reason why I think your children should come and study at Ashoka is this, that our students come from 25 countries. From within India, they come from all 28 states and from 275 towns and cities. Think of the diversity of the student body on campus, right? I'll repeat that. 25 countries, all 28 states, 275 towns and cities. 55% of our student body is women, right? And 50% of our students are on some degree of financial aid. There are students who can pay the fees and are happy to pay the fees and they join. Then there are students who struggle with some portion of the fees, so we subsidize that through scholarships and financial aid. And then there are students who come from very difficult socioeconomic backgrounds, and they are given far greater financial aid support at Ashoka. You'll be surprised to know that in the last 11 years, Ashoka has provided the highest degree of financial aid in any academic institution in India since independence in 1947, right? I mean, just think about that number, the highest aid since 1947. In the last 11 years, we've given away 325 crores to almost 4,000 students. This year that ends in June 2022, our financial aid expenditure was 75 crores, right? So our commitment to inclusion and diversity runs very, very deep, right? I'll come to 2 points and then I'll finish, and then I'm happy to take a couple of questions. Besides just the academic curriculum program that we have at Ashoka, there are large numbers of centers of excellence that operate that allows opportunities for students to engage with them, with the centers, and pursue research or just get experience on what an outstanding academic center of excellence will look like. So I'll give you a few examples. For instance, for students who are interested in political science, we have the Trivedi Center for Political Data. Now, what does that center do? It collects primary level political information across the spectrum. So all MLAs, all MP information since independence in 47 across all states in India. So when elections happen and new legislatures are sworn in or new parliament is sworn in, right? Who are these people? Where do they come from? What policies do they bring to the table? And how does that impact governance at a fundamental level for a citizen in India? That is the kind of center that we have. Now, the Political Data Center is also gathering information, primary level information on the judiciary and the bureaucracy to understand how governance has evolved over a period of time. Now, for students who are who want to pursue political science, this is a minefield of information to work with and engage with. It's great fun, right? Similarly, we have a Center for Archives of Modern India. We have over 50 collections today, and we are amongst the fastest growing archival collection in India. Now, students from various disciplines, be it the sciences or be it the humanities and social sciences, can spend time in the archives and work on documents towards research. We have a Center for Translation, which is translating works of authors from other languages into other languages. The odd thing is, in India, when we think of translation, we either think of translation into Hindi or from Hindi into English. But rarely do we think of translating text from Bengali into Kannada, or from Malayalam into Gujarati. That doesn't happen. And India has so many different languages. The fact that the students who come from this diversity can lend to that experience is again very interesting. We have a Center for Economic Data and Analysis. That, like the Center for Political Data, works on economic issues, especially on women's employment, gender in the workforce, and so on and so forth. The short point that I'm trying to communicate here is, outside of the principal academic experience that the students will gain at Ashoka, there are a large number of initiatives on campus that are intellectually stimulating and add to the body of knowledge that the student will gain access to. And of course, then there are, from a student standpoint, I'm given to understand there are 75 to 80 student clubs, which are again a lot of fun. So if we look at an Ashoka student on campus, you will see a few things. Very good infrastructure, outstanding academic systems or curriculum, great teachers, very good student body to work with and live with. It's a living experience. And then very good centers of excellence and sporting facilities. So all of this leads to the creation of a holistic experience at the university. And I was given a prompt saying, where do we see ourselves in the next 5 years? Currently, we are 2,600 students. I see ourselves going to about 5,000 students in the next 5 years, 5 to 6 years. We finished construction on the first 25 acres of campus. We have 93 acres with us. So 93 acres minus 25 acres, it is about 68 odd acres. That is going to be the land under construction over the next 15 years. So in the next 5 years, besides the increase in the student body, we will see big investments in infrastructure, again, to the benefit of the students. We'll see more housing coming up, and we'll see a whole range of facilities for both students and faculty who live on campus. And by the way, I must tell you, in our expansion plan, the big focus is going to be on the sciences as well. We are creating a science quad, which is 4 buildings which are going to be rooted in the sciences, which will hopefully take Ashoka deeper into the domain of sciences and their research, right? So I just want to give you a sense of where we are. The last point I'd like to mention is that Ashoka is completely philanthropically built, right? We haven't taken a single rupee from the government. We raise monies from individuals across the world to help build a university which the country should be truly proud of. If you think about some of the great institutions in America, as an example, if you look at Harvard, Princeton, Columbia, Yale, Stanford, Wellesley, technically, they're all private universities. They're not public universities, they're all private universities. But when some of our kids get admission into Harvard, we don't say that our kid is going to a private university in the US called Harvard. We just say they're going to Harvard, right? So we have to, in our heads, remove the divide that exists in our heads that there are public universities or there are government universities and there are private universities. There are good universities and not so good universities. That's the choice we need to make. So I'll pause here. Happy to take any questions. I have a meeting at 11:30. So if there are questions that people have, I'm delighted to take those and address them.
Thank you so much, Venkat. It's very, very insightful. And yes, we do have a couple of questions for you, but if you could just have Gina here first with us to talk a little bit about the undergraduate program at Ashoka University. We're going to come back to you soon after. Welcome, Gina, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Rangoli, and thank you so much, Venkat, for setting that whole context. I'm going to just share my screen and we'll go a little deeper into what the undergrad program really has to offer. Rangoli, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay, great. So we're going to talk straight about what the undergrad program is, who's eligible, and what is the foundation courses that Venkat just spoke about, you know. So the undergrad program is a 3-year program spread across 6 semesters. Anybody after grade 12 can sign up for the program. You can come in from any streams, humanities, commerce, sciences, IT, Cambridge, State Board. You can come with any subject combinations. There's no prerequisite there. It's a UGC recognized degree. The degree that you get at the end of your course is a BA or a BSc, depending on the majors that you've chosen. The foundation courses, and we'll talk a little more about what these foundation courses are. There's a whole bunch of majors and minor courses, and the choice is completely yours, and you decide on what you want to take up. The co-curricular courses are part of the curriculum and they are mandated. Talking about the 4th year, so the 4th circle here says that it's a postgraduate diploma in advanced studies and research. So as a university, we envisioned a 4-year program, but UGC mandates that, you know, you have to confer a degree at 3 years. So we put a stop there. We confer the degree. We leave the option with the students to stay back on the campus and do the 4th year. And we've seen largely like 50% of the students do stay back and do the 4th year as well. Now, let's look at what these foundation courses are. So one, there are 9 of them. They're compulsory, mandatory. So whatever is your area of interest, whatever, you know, majors you're picking up, irrespective of that, every student has to go through these 9 foundation courses. So, I mean, at the start of it, I know some students hesitate, especially with subjects like mathematical thinking or, say, Indian civilization. But believe me, at the end, we've seen students coming and saying that foundation courses were the most interesting courses that we've done on the campus. What are these courses? I mean, looking at introduction to critical thinking, the ability to look at a problem or a situation or a product from a multiple angle and a perspective, the ability to question things, you know. In India, the way our education system has been, we've always been raised to answer, but nobody ever gave us the liberty to question. And here is where we are nudging students to think like that. So that's introduction to critical thinking. Talking about economics, politics, and society. So whether we like it or not, we do get affected by the political scenarios of the country, of the world, the society that we live in, the economy that is around us, right? So it's important to study that. Environmental sciences, it is left, right, and center of every government policies, every, you know, private, public companies that are coming up with products. So it's very fundamental to understand your environment around you. Mind and behavior, whether you like it or not, you're going to deal with people all your life. So it's important to understand mind and behavior as well. Similarly, all the other subjects like Indian civilization, mathematical thinking, principles of sciences, literature, and grade books. You don't have to do all these courses all together. They're spread across your 3 years, but you have to complete all the 9 courses. Talking about the 4th year little briefly, the students have to make that decision to stay back for the 4th year, not at the onset of the program, towards the end. So when you're in your 3rd year, you decide whether you want to extend your program or not. What the 4th year essentially offers is you can do an advanced major. You can convert your minor into an equivalent major. So this is like the dual majors program. Research and thesis, you can get into TA or pursue a completely new minor. So that's the 4th year. Also, students who are wishing, you know, are looking forward to pursue their PGs outside India, technically you need 12 plus 4. So this is your 4th year there. Talking about the major, minors, and the co-curriculum. So here's an entire list and the menu card, you know, for the subjects that you can really look at. Now, the choice is yours. You have to take up one pure major. One major, not pure major. It could be from the list, which is on the first column, which is your pure majors, or the interdisciplinary majors, which is listed here. What is interdisciplinary major? It is the subjects that really, you know, intertwine into each other. Something like economics and finance, or say history and international relations. I mean, you can't really study international relations without having a background of history for that matter. So these are some of the interdisciplinary majors that we've listed here. You have to pick up one as your major. When do you declare your major? You declare your major only at the end of your third semester, not before that. So it's a 6-semester program. Right in the middle of your program, you're declaring one major. Until then, you're exploring. That is what liberal education is all about, exploration. Talking about the minors, you have to take up a minor, not mandatory. You can take up 0 minor, 1 minor, more than a minor. The choice is completely yours. You can pick up a minor from the list which is put up here in the third column, or you can go back to the first column and pick up a minor from there as well. The star marks indicate, that you have to have taken math in your 11th and 12th. That's the only prerequisite that we have. And for physics, of course, you need to have taken physics in your 11th and 12th. Co-curriculars, here's a list of co-curriculars. You have to pick up 2 co-curriculars. So looking at this entire options, you can actually come up with some 200 odd combinations, and the choice is completely yours, So that is the liberty that we're talking that liberal education gives to students. Going further a little about sciences at Ashoka, Venkat did speak about that, in our expansion plans, we're really focusing a lot on sciences. So here these subjects were part of the list in the previous slide as well. So we have pure sciences courses as well, which is physics, biology, chemistry, maths, computer science, interdisciplinary majors of computer science and entrepreneurship, and computer science and mathematics. The intent is to just let you know that when we say liberal education, most often students and parents assume that it's liberal arts and all the humanities-based subjects are going to be listed in here. But no, there are pure science subjects as well at Ashoka. A quick understanding of what's the admission process at Ashoka. It's a 4-stage process. It's a holistic admission process. So yes, we look at your marks, but we look at much more beyond that as well. The stage 1 is your application and assessments. So we look at your application. We look at your academic scores, your aptitudes, your on-the-spot essay. We shortlist students at that stage, and only the shortlisted candidates go in through an interview. After that, we give in your admission decisions, and then comes the financial aid. Talking a little more about financial aid, my further slides. These are the admission timelines for this academic year. We're almost in the round 4 right now, so the deadline is 22nd June. Anybody who wishes to apply for this year, and the academic year will start on 22nd of August. It's a fully residential program. Talking about the fees and financial aid. So here, as Venkat has mentioned, that we are the largest collective philanthropic university in the country. We offer huge financial aids to students. The point where you can apply is after you have an offer from Ashoka, in case if you feel that there is a gap between what you as a family can afford versus what the fees is, you can apply for a financial aid. The form expands a little further, and then the university will bridge that gap. So the fees is 10.37 lakhs per annum. That's for 1 year. It's a 3-year program, which includes your residential cost and your meal cost as well. As we mentioned earlier, we have 47% of our students who are on some kind of a financial aid from the university. And these financial aid can range from 25% to 100% financial aid. So we do have, students who are on full fin aid from the university. Also, we have 6% students who are first generation college goers. So there's a huge diversity also in the socioeconomic background where the students are coming from. Talking about a special scholarship that we've come up this year, which is a merit cum means scholarship for computer sciences and sciences. So if you're a student who's keen on anything to do with sciences, then you can apply for this also. This is a merit cum means scholarship. The previous scholarship is a pure need-based scholarship. So you can apply for this as well. This is the process for the merit cum means scholarship. Once you have a confirmed offer, you put in your, you meet in the criteria, you submit a statement of purpose. The faculty will again interview you and will give you a scholarship decision. Yeah. So this is the final deadline for this academic year, which is 22nd June. We have our, contact details also mentioned here. In case if you all have queries, you can write to us, you can call us. With that, I'm going to just stop share. and I'm going to be around here after my colleague, Priyanka talks about careers at Ashoka, and then we'll take in a few questions. Yeah. Over to you, Rangoli.
Thank you so much, Gina. That indeed was a very crisp run-through about the undergraduate program at Ashoka University. Before we move on to Priyanka, I'd like to go back to Venkat. Venkat, I hope you're with us.
Yeah.
Yes, so I understand you have an inescapable commitment and we're going to honor that. But before you leave, just a couple of very important questions that have come up. One of the attendees wants to know how much can a student take control on what they want to study, especially in uncommon or unconventional degree choices?
So that's a good question. So I'm not sure what you mean by how much can they take control, because there are a list of majors, straight majors, then there are a list of interdisciplinary majors, and then there are minors that one can select from. So there is a menu that one can pick from, right? And that is an option available to each of the students. So, and then of course they can pick whichever one they want, but I don't know what taking complete control literally means, right? Because it's you can't choose the curriculum within a discipline that is set by the academics and by the faculty, right? But the question is, do students have the option? Yes, they do have the option. Once they pick their majors or interdisciplinary majors or the minors, the curriculum is set by the university, right? And that they have to adhere to. But I'm not sure I fully understood the question beyond that.
So I think that it would be safe to assume the student or the applicant here wants to know if they can pick and choose the majors versus minors, and if they have the option of choosing more than one minor. That is probably what I.
Yeah. So there's another thing, right? And let me elaborate over here. There are students who drop a selected major and opt for another major. Right. That also happens. So sometimes somebody may pick political science as a major, and then they say, you know what, I'm actually more of a history student than a pol science student, right? And I want to opt out of political science as a major and opt for history. That said, and that can happen, and that happens all the time. There are students who convert their major into a minor. They'll say, listen, I don't want to specialize in this subject, but I'll convert that into a minor. Sometimes they'll convert a minor into a concentration. A major takes 12 courses, a minor takes 6 courses, a concentration takes 4 courses, right? So they can do these switches, but you have to do the switches in time so that you have enough runway ahead or time ahead of you to complete a major. That is very important. If you are left with very little time to complete 12 courses that add up to a major, then there is a problem, right? But if you chop and change and mix and match early enough in the academic journey, that happens all the time.
Thank you so much, Venkat. I think that pretty much answers this question, because it is this flexibility that students are looking at along with the chance to explore. So that done with, we move on to the next question. As you mentioned, we are hoping to double up in the next 5 years, 5 to 6 years. So this question here says Ashoka University aims to be in the ranks of the Ivy Leagues. How far along do you think the university has come in that regard? I think you have covered that already, but if you can just share some.
So I missed the question, Rangoli.
Yeah. So it says Ashoka University aims to be in the ranks of the Ivy Leagues. How far along do you think the university has come in that regard?
Okay. So I'll answer that question a little differently, right? The Ivy League, and this is a fun answer for all of us, right? The Ivy League is actually a sporting league. It's not a league that shows academic excellence. There are 8 universities that in a sporting system compete against one another. And that sporting championship, or the group of universities that used to fight the sporting championship, was called the Ivy League, right? It so happened that the universities in this sporting championship are also very good universities otherwise. But in the Ivy League, there are just 8 universities, right? We have to first get through the top 200 in the world. Right? So we are a long way away. And that's the honest answer, right? I would reckon that our first goal will be to be amongst the top 10 in Asia. And here's the thing, China has 9 universities in the top 200. Singapore has 3 or 4. Japan has 2 or 3. Korea has a few, right? If you look at our Asian subcontinent and the Southeast Asian subcontinent, there are very, very good institutions. Hong Kong University is one of the best in the world. So our first goal is to be in the top 10 or top 15 in Asia, and then make it up to global rankings. Do I think in the next 10 years, we have a chance of emerging as one of the leaders in Asia? I think so. And in the next 20 years, 25 years, we should start hitting the global rankings, right? Now, to Rangoli's question, and I'll talk about why finance becomes important. To be amongst the leading universities in the world, each university needs serious financial muscle. They need a lot of money to invest in research and in the sciences, right? Last month, no, not last month, we are in the month of May. In January 2022, Harvard University disclosed their endowment, which is, think of the endowment like a savings in the bank. It has $51 billion, right? In today's rupee terms, it means 3,85,000 crores is what they have as investments and savings. And they use the returns from that to make the university very powerful and invest lots of money into various disciplines and research. That is what makes them so good, right? Therefore, for Ashoka to get to that point, or a fraction of a Harvard or a Stanford, it will take us 20, 25 years, without doubt. But our first objective is to be amongst the leaders in Asia.
Right. Thank you so much, Venkat. I don't think we could have hoped for an honest answer as such. And thanking you for the same. Maybe just squeeze in one last question before we
Sure.
So how does Ashoka University ensure a truly international experience for students? And are there any collaborations with other global universities? And what are the kind of exchange programs that take place with these universities?
Right. So we have almost 30 international university collaborations, right? And a lot of them are primarily for student exchange. I think that's the key focus, right? We want our students to be able to seek opportunities in universities in the Western world. And by the way, we're also looking at 2 universities in Singapore. They're outstanding, right? So one doesn't have to go to the US all the time. One can go even eastwards, right? And Singapore is a great example. And our focus is that we want to open up exchange opportunities for students at Ashoka to avail access to study for a semester in some of the better universities in the world. And by the way, we have 30. I think in the next 12 to 18 months, we hope that 30 becomes 50. And that is a real opportunity for our students to be able to access intellectual opportunities in some of the better universities in the world. For instance, we have a collaboration with Stanford, with Yale, with Wellesley, and so many with Cambridge in Britain. So we hope that students are able to leverage these opportunities.
Thank you so much, Venkat. And we do have a few more questions, but I think we're going to stop right here and allow you to proceed with your next engagement. But since you have spoken about the centers of excellence at Ashoka at length, and that was really very, very informative, I promise you we're going to get you back to discuss a little more about that. But for now, I think we'll stop here and say a big thank you to you for joining us on this Saturday morning, Venkat. We hope to have you back with us sometime again very soon.
Yeah, so Rangoli, I'm happy to do this again. This has been a lot of fun. And please call me in whenever you need me next. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venkat. Good
Bye-bye.
So, coming now to the next segment of our session today, we come to Priyanka Chandok, who is here to share some very valuable insights on the placement opportunities after Ashoka. Priyanka, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible. And over to you, Priyanka. Thank you so much for waiting on with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Rangoli. And I'm just going to share my screen. I'll start with a quick introduction. I hope you can see my screen. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Priyanka Chandok. I manage the careers office at Ashoka University. At Ashoka, it is our endeavor to help students evaluate their goals, prepare them for the workplace through quality internships and placement opportunities, explore new possibilities, and navigate the tangled web of job hunting. We're incredibly proud of our graduates, several of whom are doing exceedingly well. They're outstanding leaders in organizations that they have joined, and many continue to significantly contribute towards creating an impact both in the corporate and social development sectors that they have joined. The CDO, as we call it, the Career Development Office, is a team of 10 people who are engaged in ensuring that each aspirant has access to the right career opportunities. And we work with them from an early age at Ashoka through internships and a preparatory program, so that by the time they are in their final years, they can apply for jobs confidently and set off on a sustainable career path. Over the years, the careers team has established relationships with over 1,000 organizations, including Fortune 500 companies, and our team continues to expand our network. It is our aim that each student is guided in the right direction. They have an access to a team that offers one-on-one counseling. We run several workshops on resume building, ensuring that key highlights and critical aspects are highlighted. We organize several upskilling workshops through a robust preparatory program. We invite several industry professionals to engage with students and alumni who meet with them in small groups and tell them about what a typical work day can look like after they join their workplaces, and also bust certain myths associated. Ashoka alums have secured jobs through the careers office, and many are doing exceedingly well at their workplace. We continue to receive some excellent feedback on their performance. Given the diversity of cohorts and disciplines at Ashoka, our recruiter pool spreads across a variety of industries, including consulting, BFSI, media, education, and social sector. Over the years, as you would see, our placements have grown in the last 6 years, both by way of numbers and by way of the number of recruiters that have hired from Ashoka University. Some of our students have been picked up for a diversity of roles across, as I mentioned, there is banking, finance, there's the social sector, there's consulting organizations that hire, there's the FMCG industry, IT technology, a large number of hiring happens across media, PR, the advertising world, etc. And these are some indicative roles for which students are picked up and as I mentioned, are doing exceedingly well in their roles. What makes Ashoka students really stand apart at their workplace? Backed with quality liberal arts and sciences education at Ashoka and layered with the preparatory programs that we offer to them, as well as several upskilling workshops, industry networking opportunities, our students are able to develop into outstanding professionals. They're excellent communicators, and that is why several are selected right after their graduation to join directly with CEOs and CXOs. Our students are self-driven. They have the ability to multitask. They respect and adhere to timelines. They're incredibly entrepreneurial. They're able to bring brilliant ideas to the workplace. Not only do they find solutions, but they also identify the right problems, making them really stand apart. Ashokans are committed to creating social impact, as they have joined the social and development sector in an increasing number of roles. And through an intense program as we prepare them and support from the Careers Office, students are able to hone their soft skills and develop higher cognitive skills, including critical thinking, empathy, complex information processing, and decision-making skills, which are critical for their success at the workplace. This is what makes Ashokans outstanding as performers and really true leaders that are set apart from the others. We start early through internships. So the Career Development Office tries to ensure that we bring forth exceptional opportunities at a young age through internships, which are a great way to gain valuable hands-on experience in their chosen fields. We encourage them to apply for internships right from their first year, in fact. Of course, a lot of preparation happens at that stage as well. We encourage them to apply for summer internships, which run across 3 months, winter internships that happen during a month in the winter. There are virtual internships, and some of them being part-time that students take on even during their course, during the academic year. And they do they put in the number of hours either post their day at work or their academic day or during the weekends. There are several graduate internships as well that students undertake after completing their graduation. So often, if it's not a full-time opportunity, there may be 6 or 8 month internships, post which they take on full-time jobs, maybe at the same organizations where they are given internships through what we call pre-placement offers. So that's a little bit that I had to share with you. At Ashoka, each student is precious, and it is our endeavor to ensure that we guide them so that they are ready for professional opportunities post their graduation. We're incredibly proud of our alums that continue to create impact and are outstanding professionals, many leading organizations and in leading positions, and our young ones who are all geared up to become true leaders of tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. That really was very, very informative. And I'm glad you covered the internship aspect towards the end of your talk, because here's a question from the listeners, from the audience today. And this is topmost, it seems, because this is something we get asked a lot in our outreach activities as well. So I'm going to start the Q&A with you, Priyanka. And the first question here is, each time we think placements, we think internships. And more and more internships are impacting placements. So in this respect, where do internships stand in the scheme of things at the CDO, at the Career Development Office at Ashoka? Priyanka.
So as I mentioned, we encourage students to take up internships right in the beginning. So these could be by way of summer internships, so between the first year and the second year and the third year, and so on and so forth. Ideally, the summer months are best suited for internships because these are 3 months period, and mostly recruiters or organizations like to take give internships for a longer period. So that window is preferred as far as internships are concerned. Of course, as I mentioned, there is a window during the winter months also. There is a month of summer holidays, and sometimes those happen as winter internships. So internships lead to great placements. Of course, it strengthens your CV. So ideally, you should get a diverse set of internships through the years at Ashoka. But very often we have seen that a good internship in terms of performance that students have done at a particular organization often even leads to what we call a pre-placement offer. So if they're impressed with the way you've performed at the workplace, they're happy to give you an offer so that at the time of completing your graduation, you can join the organization. Also, when an organization is evaluating your resume at the time of final placements, they will most often look into the sort of internships that you've had. So it's very important to show diversity of internships as well. So if, for example, you're not sure eventually which way you want to go, you may be wanting to explore different opportunities. You may want to do an internship across different industries or across different sectors through the years that you spend at Ashoka. Rangoli, I hope I've answered that question.
You have more than what I hoped for, Priyanka. And just to sum it up, let me just vouch for the Career Development Office that we do see that the CDO doesn't only help you with your placements. Students, the hand-holding is also through the internships. So yes, to put it very, very simply, the CDO does help you with internships as well. So I hope we've answered this question that was posed to us by one of the listeners today. So moving on, and this question I'd like to pose to Jinal. Jinal, how has Ashoka University progressed in terms of our admissions and outreach efforts in making sure that we have a diverse campus with respect to geography, gender, and different socioeconomic groups?
Okay. So yeah, I will just reiterate what, Venkat said, that, we have students from 25 countries, 425 schools, and coming from deep pockets of India. We also have students who are first generation college goers. So there's a huge diversity, in the student body in the classroom. And that's very important. Right now as students, you are probably, in one city, you studied in one school or two schools. So you've been exposed to only those set of, students from the same city or same class. But here you will be sitting in a classroom where you have students coming from different geographies. Their cultural experiences are different. And India is huge diversity in itself, So at an undergrad level, if you're exposed to that means something. So there is a great diversity in both, I would say, the regional diversity and the socioeconomic diversity at the campus. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Jinal. I think it would be quite safe to say that the focus is not just only on diversity, but on inclusion as well. So that really speaks highly of this particular aspect. Moving on to the next question, and Jinal, please stay with us here. What are some of the qualities that Ashoka University looks for in students while shortlisting for their undergraduate program?
Sure, yes. So as we mentioned that we have a holistic admission process, so we will look at your grades, but grades only tell us one part of the story, right? So we're looking at everything in a candidate. And that's where the application process is a little lengthy process, but the intent is to know the student, know the applicant. So we give you enough scope in the application process that you can let us know what and who you are as a student. So we're looking at your grades across your 9th, 10th, 11th. We look at your co-curriculars. We look at your extracurriculars. There's also a scope for letter of recommendation, which means we're looking at you from somebody else's perspective. That's your recommender. Plus, we'll focus on AAA, which is your aptitudes. There are 3 essays that you have to write as part of your application process, and the prompts are given to you. Those prompts somewhere nudge you and somewhere, let us know what you think. Also, there is scope for you to write the kind of books that you've read. All of that in totally, we look at that, and then we shortlist candidates to come to the stage where we interview you. That I always call it an interaction, less of an interview. So what we do is we interact with you, we understand you, and we give you a scope and a room to present yourself to us. After all of that is where we go ahead and make an admission decision. So a lot of times students tell us that, I'm academically very high. I have great scores. Will I make it? Yes, you will make it, but that's not the only thing that's required. I also get students who say, I'm average. I don't think I'll be able to make it. Don't self-eliminate yourself. We're looking at a holistic admission process. Something may outweigh something else. So we will focus on you as a whole and then give you admission. So that's about the admission process at Ashoka. Yeah.
Thanks, Jinal. And staying on the same topic, there's just one thing I'd like to add here. Since you are part of the outreach team and you are the first point of contact between an applicant and a university, what is the one word of advice that you'd like to give to future applicants?
One advice to all the students is be as candid as you can throughout your application process. Whatever you feel about yourself, or could it be your strengths, could it be your fears, could it be your areas that you want to work upon, your weaknesses, your passion. Just be candid in your entire application process, and we want to see you as who you are. That's all it is. Yeah.
Very, very sound advice. Thank you, Gina. And I think Priyanka is facing some. Okay, well, Priyanka is back, and there was this question for her. So, Priyanka, next I'd just like you to take this on, please. There's a lot of talk about careers of the future. So, what does that mean, and how does Ashoka University prepare its students for these new age careers?
Okay, yes, that's a very interesting question from whoever's asked that. Yes, there is a lot of talk about new age careers. So a lot of that is around what are some of the roles or typical profile roles and career opportunities within organizations that are already existing. So, for example, within various sectors, what are some of the new roles that are emerging? And it's interesting that I was actually, reading something recently, and we've always heard about HR being a critical function across organizations, but now they're also looking at roles such as the chief happiness officer. In the tech space, there are a whole lot of new roles emerging around design thinking, AI, ML. So these are some of the new age careers that you can hope for. In the sciences, there's a lot of emphasis on data science. Design thinking is one of them. So these are typically new age careers within traditional organizations or within traditional companies. But there are a whole lot of new age careers with new age organizations as well. So, for example, startups, which are getting into a wide variety of very interesting spaces, are looking out for people who can join them. So in my opinion, those are new age careers which are highly aspirational for young students. In fact, even those coming out of Ashoka University. There are very interesting models coming up with startups. Some projects that, of course, that are spoken about, and a lot of interesting places around and exciting opportunities that actually move towards new age careers in startups as well.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Still with you, there is another question on internships. So this is very university specific. Are there opportunities for paid internships, and will they be allowed to join internships outside the scope of the university while still studying here? So how does that work?
I'm not sure what you mean by outside the scope of the university, but this is how internships happen. We at Ashoka, there's a careers office which is engaged with several recruiters and corporates who give us internship opportunities. We encourage students to apply for those opportunities through the careers office. Of course, if you have your own contacts that you want to leverage for internships, you're welcome to do so as well. So if that's what you mean by outside the scope of the university, the answer is yes. Please feel free to reach out to organizations through your own personal networks also. And to the first part of the question, yes, several internships are paid internships. Most often there is a minimum stipend that we ask recruiters to offer to students who want internships. Sometimes they may be unpaid, but they may be spectacular in terms of the kind of experience that you may receive. But those are few and far between. Most often they are paid. There's a minimum stipend that comes through the careers office.
So I think the other part to this question, as I understand, would be, since it's a residential program, would the student be allowed to step out to fulfill the requirements of an internship?
Okay. No, so that's the right. So thanks for that clarity. Which is why when I was talking about internships, I'm mentioning a summer and winter internships. During the summer and winter months, when you have holidays from the university and you can be in different locations, you can take up full-time internships during the months, and that's between 15th May to 15th August every year. There's a 3-month window, and mid of December to mid of Jan. These are in-person internships that you're encouraged to take on. However, having said that, since it is a residential campus, there may be certain virtual internships that you can take up, which you can sort of do perhaps during weekends, if your curriculum permits that, and if time permits. You should take those up as well, because that also helps in getting you ready for the workplace once you graduate. But you will not be allowed to leave the campus for internships during when the semesters are on.
I think that pretty much clarifies this particular question. Moving on and crisscrossing back to Gmail. Gmail, there's one particular question which I do not understand completely, but I think it is relevant and I'll leave it to you to interpret this. So like BA honors, why is a BSc honors for liberal arts students not encouraged? This is obviously a parent who says, my son is a core science student and now wants to pursue anthropology. So what is the kind of degree that the student would be working towards?
Okay, yeah. It's a little twisted question, but just to clarify that it's a liberal education program. It's a UGC recognized programs, and the degree that you're conferred is a BSc and a BA. Now, whether it will be a BSc or a BA depends on the major that you've chosen, you know. So if you've chosen humanities-based programs as your major, then it's your BA. And if you've chosen anything to do with sciences, then it's your BSc, you know. So that just clarifies your BSc and BA bit of it. I mean, if that's what was the question. Yeah.
So I guess the same applies to the next question, which asks you to differentiate between a BA honors in psychology and a BSc honors in psychology. So here I'd like to share with the audience, we may not be able to take on subject-specific queries at this point, but feel free to write them to us and we'll be happy to connect you with the related department. So please don't hesitate in writing to us if you have some subject-specific or a major-specific query. So moving on, just a question that we get asked very, very often. Do you have a BTech in computer sciences at Ashoka? Gmail?
Okay, yeah. So yes, we don't offer a BTech. BTech is a technically an engineering degree. We don't offer an engineering degree, but yes, we offer a BSc in computer sciences. But largely, and I'm sure Priyanka will agree to this, it's just a matter of degree, a BSc and a BTech doesn't really matter in the workforce. You will have the best and the top of the line technology companies that are coming and hiring our students. It's essentially that 4 years of experience and the learning that you have achieved that's far more important than the label of those BTech and BSc degrees that matter. Priyanka, do you want to highlight and talk about the kind of companies that come and recruit our CS students?
Absolutely. Now, I just want to clarify, a BTech is a technical degree. A BSc in computer science, in fact, is not typically linked with technical roles. So if you're going for a very, very technical role in an organization, then it's a BTech degree that you should seek. However, BSc computer science is different. So there are a host of, in fact, roles that one can get after a computer science degree. And there have been some great placements that we have had with organizations such as Google, Microsoft. In fact, across Microsoft and Google, we've received excellent, CTCs. Students have received excellent CTCs. There have been very interesting roles. For example, a strategic cloud engineer or a project manager. There have been AI, ML roles. There have been analyst roles. There have been analyst consulting roles. So there's a host of IT technology companies that hire from Ashoka, from the CS cohort. And these are, of course, technical roles, but a lot of non-tech roles also that technology and IT companies hire from Ashoka for. So very interestingly, if you have a CS and entrepreneurship sort of combination, or a CS and a psychology combination, it gives you a great mix because you have a little bit of a technical knowledge, also an understanding on human behavior. So when you're working with an IT technology company, you're able to bring solutions that are oriented towards, perhaps better customer facing or customer interaction, roles as well. So that's the advantage of a CS degree. So some spectacular placements after CS have happened. In fact, even in a lot of ed tech, fintech companies that have hired from us, a lot of startups hire CS students as well. So they are not the typical coding roles, but very interesting. In fact, a lot of the new age roles, as I mentioned, the data sciences, the design thinking, all of that come after CS. So.
Thanks, Priyanka. Thank you for adding to that. And this is something I love about our webinars. The outreach team and the CDO have come together to give you a lot of insight into this particular question. And we are running out of time, but there's one question, and that is very, very relevant. Priyanka, I will just shoot the question to you. Does Ashoka prepare students to develop or instill entrepreneurial skills or mindsets? Very, very important.
Absolutely. Yes, we do. We have a center for entrepreneurship, in fact, which is is a robust center at Ashoka. And we encourage a whole lot of our students to, go through the center of entrepreneurship as well. So entrepreneurial ability is one of the most important skills that recruiters look out for. And inculcating an entrepreneurial mindset is what, at Ashoka we focus on as well. So through the Center of Entrepreneurship as well, there are multiple sessions and workshops that students undertake, which help in building professional and leadership skills, helping build a entrepreneurial mindset. What does it take, in order to become different and to do things differently? We also encourage a lot of our students, in fact, have started their own, have their startups. In fact, that they have started during their tenure at Ashoka as well. We run boot camps, etc. And there's a lot of learning, and there are senior professionals that are invited. In fact, we have typical Shark Tank-like setups where they're willing to offer, funding for interesting entrepreneurship projects as well. So yes, it's something that is very, very critical in students of today, whether you're joining startups or organizations that have already been established, because an entrepreneurial bent of mind really means that you have the ability to become a leader for tomorrow.
I don't think we could have summed that up better than this. And this really was the last question that we can take on today. So thank you so much, Priyanka, Jinal, and of course, Venkat, for taking our time for today's webinar. Thank you, audience, for joining us on this bright Saturday morning. We do hope that this webinar was helpful in understanding some of the unique aspects about Ashoka University's undergraduate program and the career opportunities available to students after graduating. We would really appreciate it if you could please take a minute to share your valuable feedback with us. The link to the feedback form is provided in the chat box. Please note that the recording of this session will be available on Ashoka University's YouTube channel in case you would like to revisit or share it with your friends. Our next webinar is on financial aid and scholarships at Ashoka University, which is coming up on Wednesday, 25th May 2022 at 6 p.m. In this webinar, the Office of Financial Aid will talk about Ashoka's need-based financial aid policy that allows students from all backgrounds an equal opportunity to receive world-class education. The team will also talk about the new merit-cum-need scholarship for computer science and the sciences at Ashoka. The registration link for this webinar is provided in the chat box. Before we wrap up today, I would like to remind our audience that the final round of admissions to Ashoka University's undergraduate program will close on 22nd June 2022. Please note that students can secure their admission even without the 12th board marks or the common entrance test. If you have any further queries regarding various other aspects of the university, feel free to write to us at ugapply@ashoka.edu.in or call on the number shown on your screen. Once again, I thank our speakers for taking out the time to participate in this discussion. This brings us to the end of the session. Please take care, mask up for the sake of those around you, and continue to stay safe. Have a great weekend ahead. Thank you so much.